Candace Cameron Bure played DJ on Full House back in the 1990s and later became the face of the Hallmark Channel, starring in over 2 dozen different films and shows over the years, but will no longer work with the network because they've gone woke. And now she's the creative director of a Christian network called the Great American Family Channel. And in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, she was asked what her fans can expect, what the kind of different content is over there. And she said that the Great American Family Channel will focus only on traditional marriage, which is an extremely politically correct way to say that there's not going to be any gay romantic dramas over there like there are now on the Hallmark Channel. And so, of course, she's being attacked as a homophobe. Earlier this year, the Hallmark Channel announced and the liberal media industrial complex sung praise when they revealed that this Christmas they're going to be airing their first gay Christmas special. But of course, that's not enough. Will 2022 have more? It's never enough. You give them an inch, they demand a mile. And so the liberal media are furious that there aren't going to be any gay Christmas specials over on the Great American Family Channel. The gays have been banned from Christmas movies, complains the Daily Beast. They say the queen of bad holiday movies, Candace Cameron Bure, now has her own network and has vowed not to feature same-sex couples in her movies. It's so dumb. We're angry anyway. The heterophobia in America is getting almost as bad as the anti-whiteism. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the near future the Merriam-Webster dictionary and all online dictionaries delete the definition of heterophobia, which of course is an irrational fear of, an aversion to, or discrimination against heterosexual people. The leftist lobbying and activist organization GLAAD, Gays and Lesbians Against Defamation, which actually I guess they don't even call themselves that anymore. They just call themselves GLAAD because that's not inclusive enough, because it doesn't include all of the other 57 different genders and sexual orientations. But anyway, they're a very powerful activist and lobbying organization that works behind the scenes in order to lobby writers and producers to insert LGBT characters and storylines into projects. And every year they put out a report called the Responsibility Index, Studio Responsibility Index, where they complain that there's not enough of their kinds of people in movies and TV shows. And they systematically track and log how many shows and how many stars and the gender identity and sexual orientation of all of the main characters. And they put together this report in order to use it to try to pressure Hollywood in order to make it even more gay. But I'm sure that the Great American Family Channel is going to get sued by all kinds of leftist activist organizations who are going to cry discrimination because they don't want to buy scripts or greenlight projects about gay romantic comedies, because God forbid there be a network that you can go to without being inundated with such content. All they wanted was the right to get married, they said, but now they want to make you watch gay movies. And if you don't want to, then you're a homophobe and a bigot and probably a Nazi too. Back in the 1990s, an 89-year-old wheelchair-bound billionaire married a 26-year-old former Playboy Playmate model named Anna Nicole Smith, shocking the nation, causing pretty much everybody to say that it was not just a typical gold digger with a 20 or 30-year-old age difference, but disgusting and weird and abnormal. And just taking a look at the two of them together evokes a reaction of disgust. But if you have that same view about other consenting adults in other kinds of relationships, you're not allowed to dare say it out loud, otherwise you'll get mega canceled. Which is why, I think 5 years ago now, I did this Man on the Street episode where I let liberals paint themselves into a corner by saying that there was nothing strange, unusual, or wrong with gay marriage or gay couples. They're two consenting adults, nothing weird about that at all. And then I asked them, well, so then you endorse incestuous couples and incest marriage? And of course, they all agreed. At the rate society's going at this point, that'll probably be the subject of next year's Hallmark Christmas special. It's interesting how most major networks these days won't allow a show on air that has an all-white, all-straight cast. And as I've covered in the past, hit shows from decades ago like Friends are all under attack because of the lack of diversity, because they had an all-white starring cast. But it's perfectly fine to have shows with an all-black cast, and of course it is. No white people are complaining that and black family stars in the show and there's not enough white people in the series. But God forbid there be a series about a group of white friends. Oh, and by the way, the Mormon Church has officially endorsed gay marriage. The Democrats are trying to codify it. They're trying to pass a law in Congress to prevent the Supreme Court from dissolving what should have never been legalized in the first place. And so now the official governing body of the Mormon Church has endorsed it. I don't even want to get started on them, but it is interesting to note that every time I've ever been approached by a Mormon in a parking lot of a grocery store when they're trying to win over new converts, they never actually have the Bible with them. They never have the gospel with them. It's always the Book of Mormon. Dum, 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 dum. I'm sorry, but the South Park episode was correct. Become a Christian. Become a Protestant. Martin Luther was correct. And speaking of strange things, this person who identifies as a transgender woman, and by the way, I guarantee in the future, they're going to get upset if you just call them transgender woman or a transgender man. They're going to start demanding that you just call them a man or a woman. I guarantee it. But this transgender person won a beauty pageant in New Hampshire, a local beauty pageant, and is now going on to compete in the state's Miss New Hampshire beauty pageant. 10 years ago, well, I guess Saturday Night Live hasn't been funny for 25 years. 25 years ago, this would have been a Saturday Night Live skit. But this is reality now in the collapsing society that we call the United States of America. Also, in a sane society, this would be considered a joke, but they expect us to take them seriously. Microsoft posted their new rendition of the LGBT plus pride flag that represents the 40 LGBTQIA plus communities. Speaking of great designs, however, Trump Claus is back in my online store at markdice.com in a sweatshirt, hoodie, t-shirt, or a long sleeve t-shirt. Also available in green, red, or black, so head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check it out.